Have you ever seen an artist paint on gray canvas? Wonder why? I'll tell you. This is a white canvas. Super bright, right? Problem is, when we look at it, it actually makes us compensate for that bright white color. Pirates. You ever notice a pirate wears an eye patch, right? It's like one of the classic things. Pirates got an eye patch. Why did they have an eye patch? Is it because everybody was missing an eye? I don't think so. The reason a pirate would wear an eye patch is because when he'd be up on deck, he'd leave the patch over this eye. And we'd go below deck, he'd move that patch to the other eye, thus letting this eye, which is adjusted for the dark, work while he's in the dark. And then he'd go back up, everything's all peachy. He'd have the patch on this eye, and then he'd go back down, he'd switch it to the other eye, because this eye is now accustomed to the dark. You've done it yourself. You've gone outside, bright summer day, come inside into a darker environment you can't see, right? Well, that's because inside your eye, there are cones and there are rods. There's also your iris, or your pupil, that adjusts so that the available light coming in and out. But those things, the iris actually adjusts almost immediately. But the photoreceptors in your eye, the cones and the rods, they're a little bit different. So the cones, they deal with primarily brighter light and color. So when you're outside, bright light, color, those cones are all active. But when you go inside, it starts to change so that rods start to take over. The rods are very photosensitive. When you're outside, they deactivate. They don't want to deal with all of that assault of color and light. But when you come inside, it has to adjust, and it takes time for the rods to start to take over as far as your vision is concerned. So what's happening when you're painting on a bright canvas is it's assaulting your rods and your eyes, your cones and your rods. It adjusts so that when you're painting, what you're doing is you're picking colors that aren't quite right, the colors and values, because your eyes are adjusting for that assault. Paint on a gray canvas, and that actually eliminates that. The same thing happens when you're dealing with super bright canvases also. If you paint on fluorescent pink, you're going to have a problem unless you know how to compensate for that. Now, I'm not suggesting that you can't. I'm just saying, understand what's happening and how you can compensate for it so that you understand what you're doing on your canvas. Now you know.